Alright everyone, and we're back with another MaxPax's POV video. This time around is going to be PvP. So we're up against Classic this time around. This is the finals of the Monday Night Weekly 51, if you want to watch the VODs or the brackets on Wikipedia. So this is the reset match. So the final best of three, if you will, between the two of them. They've played a couple times already in a Wednesday and the Monday Night Weekly. There you go. And so we're gonna look at these games. I know Classic, of course, has the wide array of strategies available up his sleeves, and MaxPax's, of course, will sometimes play 2 gate openers and 1 gate opener. So I would expect, I have not seen the games just yet, a wide variety of strategies from both of them. So we're gonna delve into them and try to learn as much as possible, because as much as a lot of people dislike PvP, I still believe it's a very interesting matchup to learn. And if you want to make it enjoyable for you, 1/3 of your ladder game is interesting, then it's gonna be very important to actually take the time to understand how the matchup works. Because a lot of people say it's random and so on. It's there's of course an element of luck, as it's always the case in life, but there's a lot of things you need to learn, and this is definitely the right place to go. So as you can see, single gate from our Danish friend, which means we're going to go for a 1 gate expand. So it puts the emphasis on the minerals. You see 16 on the minerals, and then it saturates his gases with a S. And he makes a zealot, of course, because if you get blocked by a pylon and then a cyber core, if you don't have a zealot, you're never going to be able to expand. And in 1 gate expand, there's the word expand, of course. So is there a second pylon in the base of Classic? The answer is no, which means there's probably a proxy on the map. He saw both units were started. There's no probe inside MaxPax's base, which means it's a clear indication that there's a pylon somewhere on the map, and this is why the scouting probe comes back to check the middle of the map, this probe checks the right side of the map, and the zealot checks the bottom side of the map. He's trying to cover all the land as much as he can to find what proxy is up against, because if it's a Stargate, you're going to respond completely differently than it's a 4-gate all-in or a proxy robo. Right, so the first thing that MaxPax's did was to rush his Stargate, to actually, I think, make an Oracle, I would say. Because the Oracle, as much as it's not a very good defensive unit, at least in this scenario, it's an amazing unit to force a response. Because if your opponent doesn't get a battery in the mirror line or stalkers in the mirror line, it's just going to lose all of his probes. So you're going to... Like, you often say that the best defense is offense, and the purpose of this Oracle is going to be exactly that. So this Oracle is going to cross the map. Now, I was going to say showtime. MaxPax's is making a battery inside his main base because he's expecting potential War Prism, right? Okay, it's just leaving the Oracle at home because it will kill the intruders very rapidly. So I think he lost 2 probes in total, if I'm not mistaken, which is okay for 2 adepts, is more than enough. And then you go into Void Ray because it's an actual good bursting unit. So I think this battery in the main is mostly for the Warp Prism. In case it flies here, you've got some healing available, because actually MaxPax's is working on very few units. So you still need to make some probes as MaxPax's to actually have a lead economically. So if there's a battery, of course, you won't be able to kill the probes with the normal laser beam. So you just use a stasis traps to make your opponent lose some mining time and perhaps freeze a unit or 2. So now it's going to be a tight defense. I assume lots of stalkers should be showing up in a very near future. We don't actually know what proxy it is. We'd love to read into MaxPax's mind to know what's going on, because there's 3 gates on the side of Classic. Could technically be a Blink all-in, or a Robo into Blink, or just a 4-gate. Could be just about anything. There you go. So there's a Robo, because you saw the Warp Prism, of course. MaxPax's pretty well prepared with 4 batteries available. It's gonna get an extra gateway because now he's gonna have a bit more money. He's gonna need to be able to actually produce firing unit and not just batteries. This sentry has to live, right? Gotta be super careful with it. Force fields are unbelievably useful in defending this kind of unit, and now it's all about the control. All about the control. You do not want to Lose your Void Rays, these are your best units. Classic should really try to fight a little bit more vividly to snipe this sentry. It would be an amazing pick-off, but the batteries have done a good job to keep them alive. We've got 3 Void Rays, that's more than enough. And you see the multitask from MaxPax is speaking, and it's just landed a Stasis shot that's going to freeze every single worker. This is why the Oracle is so useful in this kind of situation. Now Classic does not have enough anti-air to deal with the Void Rays. That's a very clean defense. You see, so you're able to still defend without knowing exactly what proxy it is. I mean, without confirming precisely what it is. So very well done by MaxPax. If you want to take your Starcraft to the next level, I've created a coaching site on which you could join my Discord, book a session with me, and soon I will be adding tutorials and guides. So make sure you check out my coaching site. The link is in the description. All right, game number 2 on another beautiful map. Once again, some of these maps will be added into the next map pool. So I'm quite excited for these maps. I like to have some novelty. Don't want to play the same maps over and over again, right? So if we could get maybe 7 new maps out of 9, that would be very cool. So once again, I don't even know what this map is called, but I like the terrain. You know, it's you know, a bit of green, a bit of brown. You know, it looks like the nature. I like it. Feels like at home. So anyway, we're gonna go into this game number 2 against Classic. I'm just gonna, you know, accelerate the beginning a little bit so we... Oh, actually, this little interaction is interesting. So there's no gateway in the wall, and this probe was headed towards the Nexus location. So MaxPax, instead of scouting, sticks around and try to block the Nexus, assuming his opponent is trying to expand himself. MaxPax once again is going for a 1-gate expand himself, and since Classic has not scouted, well, he will not be able to block the Nexus of Classic. Maybe it was just a fake. So MaxPax is now going to verify what's going on. Yeah, it's a double gate opener. So you see MaxPax maybe got slightly tricked, but doesn't really matter at the end of the day. So we still see no second pylon. So this probe that went towards the Nexus location might actually be going somewhere on the map to proxy. You can see on the Nexus there is no spinning around the crystal, which means no probe are being made. No second pylon inside the main base of our Korean friend. And no probe scouts on MaxPax's side of the map. So these 3 informations together strongly indicate that there is a proxy somewhere on the map. So MaxPax is gonna do exactly what it needs to do, which is to look for it. And instead of going for a Stargate, which you would normally do, it would open with a robo. It didn't go for what is it called, a zealot, as you usually do. It just went straight for Nexus because it was not blocked. So decided to go for a robo instead of a... No, not a robo, a gateway. I'm sorry, I'm completely blind. So now he has all the information that he needs. He saw a Stargate being proxied, and he saw 2 adepts coming. So all he needs to do at this point is to keep a probe in the wall so that the adepts are not able to actually get inside the main, which would be catastrophic. And he will probably have to make a shield battery in his mirror line. It's going to be tight because you need to make it like right about now against a proxy Stargate. Yeah, it's 310, 315. Yeah, he's never gonna have a battery in his mirror line, so I'm not sure how he wants to go about things. He's going to need maybe one more... yeah, this battery is gonna be too late for the Oracle, I'm pretty sure. Usually against proxy Oracle, it's more like 305, 310 maybe. So he's gonna go Phoenix first. I mean, depends if the Oracle beelines. I mean, at the end of the day, this proxy star is not even proxied. It's more hidden than proxied. Like, this target is actually very far away. There we go. So yeah, as you saw, the battery is not finished, as I mentioned. Oh, nice last minute blocking. That was very swift. So, like Taylor. So now this Phoenix is gonna try to catch the Oracle, of course. Gonna force a recall, I would assume. And okay, yeah, there we go. There goes the recall. Actually, a big bunch of Phoenixes are very effective at killing adepts. So once it's got two birds, 2 mechanical birds, it's gonna be able to lift the orange adept and just kill it. I think it's gonna do exactly that. Yeah, there you go. It's gonna just kill the first adept. And once he has 3 Phoenixes, he's gonna be able to lift all the adepts very rapidly. Now you have to be careful as MaxPax, because you don't really know if your opponent made a second oracle or if he cut to one. Because if he made two oracles, it could still YOLO inside the mirror lines and get a bit of damage done, especially when the phoenixes are out of position. But when the phoenix try to catch the adept, well, then you know the phoenixes are not in the mirror line, which is when two oracles could strike. And if you have got like only a stalker and a sentry, you could easily lose 10 probes, which would be probably game ending. So now MaxPax is playing with incomplete information. I think he's looking for the adepts, and then he's probably going to try to cross the map when he has sufficient defenses at home. Now he's going into a Twilight Cancel and not a Robo, I believe. This is a bit dangerous. Personally, I don't like this kind of playstyle because I think it's a bit greedy. You don't have that much gas when you play this kind of style. And going into a Robo afterwards seems a bit expensive. Yeah, he's already adding one more geyser. And actually he's making an oracle. I think he's smelling the DTs, and I think I wouldn't be surprised if Classic would go. How many stalkers does he have? I think what MaxPax needs to do is to check how many units does Classic have. That's not a lot of fucking... Yeah, DTs, of course. There you go, DTs show up. Oh, the fucking pylon's gonna get depowered. Does he have time to force field? No. Oh, that's so close. That was actually very smart by MaxPax to go into an oracle. He smelled it, and I smelled it too myself, to be fair. This oracle was 5 seconds away from finishing. These units were just not in position. It was not reacting fast enough. Oh, that's a shame. If the oracle popped out, it would have been a... I mean, there's still quite a bit of DTs to deal with. You would still need to relevate one at a time, but oh, that's a shame. Alright, game number 3 on another new map. All these maps look pretty cool, I think. I like the vibe of this map. Of most of them, at least. So, let's see if MaxPax decides to go for, yet again, one gate expand. Game 1 worked pretty well. I think game 2 would have been just fine had he had the oracle on time. A bit tricky, of course. Classic rush, the DT, they just showed up so freaking fast. And very fast, very smart of him to go for that. I think, yeah, MaxPax read it perfectly, but it's just the oracle was just slightly too late. Because if you've got the detection, even if DTs come one at a time, I mean, DTs are pretty expensive. And when you go for DTs like this, you don't really have blink, you don't have that many stalkers, and then you still have 5 or 4 phoenixes, which can kill a lot of workers on the other side. So I think MaxPax may have been just fine had he had the oracle, had he started the oracle like 5 seconds faster. A bit unfortunate, sadly, for him. I know I would have been pissed if I lost that, like making the right read and just barely losing. That's a bit frustrating, but you know, this is Starcraft 2, especially at this level. You know, everything has to be extremely tight, like a hot dog. Anyway, we're gonna go into a core. So this time around, MaxPax actually plays double gate. Interesting. No one gate opener this time around, likes to mix things up a little bit. Maybe this map is not as good. Once again, I'm not very familiar with these new maps, so I wouldn't be able to tell if this is map dependent or not. So I just don't know as of now. MaxPax is gonna verify whether a second pylon is in the main of his opponent. There's a little hidden area over here. Yeah, nothing to find, nothing to see. Now he's gonna check if he's starting units right off the bat. So Warp Gate has started along with 2 units. Everything that is starting on time. So no Prop Scout by Classic, and no second pylon in his main, which is a very good indication that there is something hidden on the map, which has been a recurring theme in this best of 3 so far. Once again, I have not seen the previous match, like, because they've played twice already. Like, they've played like 5 or 6 games already in this Monday Night Weekly. So maybe there's a bit of mind game involved in these games. But okay, there's a probe coming from the north. So maybe the proxy is around this area. Once again, you could trick your opponent and purposefully take a different path at the last second with the probe to trick your opponent into making him believe the proxy is in this direction when it's actually in the other. So at 2:55, MaxPax is getting an anti-Stargate shield battery inside the mirror line because he just doesn't know what is going on. I think there's realistically this pylon is not going to live. Yeah, good cancel, of course. A bit of a bait. So MaxPax actually opting for 3-gate Robo, which is actually a pretty good build, I think, in many cases. So if you play against Stargate, you will just be able to spam Stalkers across the map and either kill your opponent if they play greedy or try to contain them on a single base. That's the plan. Or if they go for Proxy or Robo, then you can counterattack with a Prism, like I showed in my anti-Proxy Robo video, and defend at home. The only case where you're nicely fucked, I would say, is when your opponent just hides a pylon and does not proxy anything. It's just a fake. Then realistically, the proxy player should be able to defend his Nexus if they micro and respond well enough. So here we play against Stargate in this case, and a Stargate that is followed up by so far only gateway units. So I think if MaxPax controls this properly, it should be able to deny the Nexus and take control of the low ground, and then either walks up the ramp if he can, as you see the Nexus being cancelled, or just go into the next state of the map. So you need to warp in extra Stalkers in your middle line, because if Classic does decide to get one more Oracle and goes for 2, one Stalker is just not going to be enough, and you will lose probably a dozen workers, to be realistic. So now MaxPax is just utilizing his Warp Prism to provide high ground vision, to try to pick off units or a gate if he can, and then the next step would simply be to expand, right? So try to pick off as much stuff as you can. There goes a gate. If the units are a bit careless, maybe you can snipe something else. There's a Robo on the way, he saw it. So now MaxPax should just be building probes. Yeah, 2 Oracles, exactly, that's what I mentioned. Actually, I would have preferred to have like maybe one more defensive Stalker just in case. 3 Stalkers would have been enough. Actually lost 5 probes in total here in his exchange, so that's quite expensive. A bit unnecessary. I just warped in one extra unit in his mirror line. One more gate over here. No blink, no Stargate. I mean, he has a proxy Stargate. I'm stupid. So I think I think Classic should probably try to get a Prism now. I think this is Classic's plan. I think it would be nice from Classic to actually get rid of this Observer that sees everything. And yeah, there goes the Prism. He's gonna try to leave his base, maybe do a counterattack. Let's see what... oh, that's a good snipe by oh, be careful, the Prism! Oh, ay, that's... Oh my fucking lord. Oh, and Classic just GG's out of it. Okay, I mean, this is pretty much game over in this case, because, I mean, if we go back in this scenario, the only tool Classic can use to go down this ramp and expand and keep going further in this game is a Warp Prism, because it doesn't have a Twilight Cancel. So he needs to get a Prism, and he just lost it, and MaxPax's natural was about to complete, and MaxPax would have just made more pros, be ahead economically, just defend it at home, and because there's no way to break through from the force field, and he also lost an Oracle in this exchange, so it went from bad to worse to even unwinnable in just a couple seconds. So very well done by MaxPax. It was a very short best of 3. I expected longer games, but at the end of the day, it's just PvP, so these games tend to be a bit shorter. But I hope you liked it, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.